Why shouldn't you text your ex happy birthday?
Do you tell me why you think you should first?
I was just being nice.
You're not being nice. In the split second when she receives your message and it says, happy birthday, hope you have a great day, you're just reminding them that you don't give a
Thank you so much.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 119 of Dropouts. This week we've got Nick, who needs to change his last name because it's
brutal.
Viall, Viola Davis. I don't know what it is, dude.
It's Viall?
It's Viall.
Viall.
I feel like that's not that hard to pronounce.
Yeah, but it is. So
you have to like pause after the Viall.
Viall.
And then all
Viall.
Yeah, it's not the best.
Can
Yeah.
you CC me in with your parents on an email? See if we can get that switched up.
I was having a conversation with my dad last night about it.
Okay, let's talk about it. All right, hit some intro music, and then we'll get into love, dating, this wonderful book, and blah, blah, blah. Hit the thing, Jared. Dude.
What's up, B-Words, and welcome back to Dropouts, episode 119.
Back up from the mic.
Jeez.
Happy birthday. Come on, happy
Wait,
birthday.
no.
What?
That's copyrighted. We can't sing the normal happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday's
You're not
copyrighted?
allowed to?
No, it's copyrighted by, like, it was originally made by these two sisters in Louisville. And then
Are
they're
you serious?
Yeah, they made a fuck ton of money off
I
of
guess
this
as
song.
they should have.
Okay, can we just say it? And
But happy birthday!
birthday!
There we
Appreciate
go.
it.
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
There we go.
the big 1-2.
Guys, I gotta say,
Here we go.
I'm already just impressed with the first. 2
Alyssa's
minutes of
coming
the
in.
show.
Oh,
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to
happy
you.
happy birthday. Happy.
Jared, you're so worried about this not getting monetized.
You always are worried about it.
Wow, that's so
blow
nice
out?
of you guys.
Yeah, blow it out.
Woo!
All right, I made a wish too.
We also got you
There
a
we
present.
go.
Alyssa, will you give him the present?
You guys got him a present?
Yeah.
We did.
You guys are the best.
We bought one of your roses off eBay
One of
from
mine?
from the actual show,
No, from my season.
from your season.
It was on eBay.
It was on eBay.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So now you get
You're
to
like, I don't know what to do with this, but it's pretty cool.
I don't know if you wanted that. You feel free to throw it away.
If it's from actual season.
Yeah. We just thought it might be a memory.
How'd you find that?
A lot of digging.
A lot of digging. There's some super
was
fans
selling
out. Some super fan.
Yeah, I don't know
And
what.
I'm assuming one of the women.
Oh, must
Sold
have
it.
sold it. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I don't remember. We did have our assistant do it.
yeah,
But she
okay.
found it. It was the idea. So
I'm taking notes, guys.
I mean, this is what you got to do. Listen, we don't want you here because we want you here. We're failed lovers, honestly, and
All of us.
Very failed.
What? And I apologize. I've gotten to know Jared a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How
did you guys get to know each
How's
other?
that crush going, by the way?
oh, Jared.
How did you guys know each other?
We met at Nessa's birthday party.
Yeah, we met at Nessa's birthday party.
And then I've met Zach a couple times at a couple parties, but we
Yeah.
didn't have the pleasure of the deep conversation that Jared and I haven't had the pleasure of getting to know Indiana. Are you guys? Are you guys all single? What's the dynamic?
It's a throuple right now, but we're open for
Yeah.
4. if
Okay.
you- if
We're
you're
open for a
interested.
fourth.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'll let you know. But Jared, how
I'm
is
so
the crush
glad.
going?
I'm so glad you brought this up because anytime we bring it up, it gets cut. But you're the guest, so you have a free pass.
Yeah, can't cut it.
I wouldn't say that crush is going anywhere anytime soon.
Have you tried, or are we just crushing from a distance?
It was just crushing from a distance. I thought about trying, and then I was like, maybe not.
Why not?
You know, I'm a pansy.
Jared is also riddled with anxiety.
Yeah,
when it comes
get
to that
anxiety.
stuff, yeah.
Do you? I think Jared. Okay, so he'll see a beautiful specimen from afar. Maybe we're at a club. Maybe we're at a party. Wherever it is. But do you have any advice on first moves?
Oh, I need this big time.
I'm not a pickup artist by any.
He's not,
I mean,
he's a fall in love forever kind of guy. So we need an initiation to a future wife.
I think for anyone, I think the problem with hitting on someone in public is that it's really hard to do, and
Very
you don't
hard.
know their situation, and you get anxiety, you get nervous, and especially men have a tendency of thinking that the whole process of working up the courage to hit on someone or say hi, that takes a lot of our energy, and subconsciously or even consciously, we're thinking that they owe us something. Like even if it's their consideration.
Oh,
you know?
interesting.
And so, and then if we don't get the thing we want, we don't respond positively to that.
Yeah, that's
usually
when like the roid heads kind of go off and they start we're like, fuck you,
You're not even pretty anyways.
Yeah.
Coming from like a woman's point of view, I always definitely shut off a little bit when people approach me in public.
sure, yeah.
Like I'm always like I get creeped out. I'm like, I mean, we have our guard up as we should at this point. Like I just get very much like,
yeah. I
"Ah."
mean, as I say in my book, I mean, most of my book is very genderless in the sense that I write it from the obviously a lot of it's based off of my perspective, but it's not really about like, you know, top 5 things guys like or you know, things like that. But I speak to men in my book, and one I'm talking about this topic. And listen, if you're a guy and you have sisters or women friends or girlfriends, like if you ask them if you ever like were made to feel uncomfortable or unsafe in a situation where a strange guy came up to you in public, like 100% of them will have a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to empathize with the fact that, like, you know, women have reasons to have their guard up because there's a lot of weird dudes out there.
I love the title. Don't text your ex happy birthday.
Which, by the way, call me out next time.
Hey,
okay?
call our
Just
assistant
at
out.
me.
Call all of us out.
Yeah, we've all done that. I've done that.
I did that 2 days ago.
There you go.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it was her birthday.
Which one? Oh, that's the toughest
Oh,
one.
we're saying names?
I'll bleep it out.
So how do you approach someone in public? Think about gratitude. Have a gratitude mindset. Gratitude's the only feeling that can't turn toxic.
What's an example of that?
Yeah.
Well, so like happiness, right? Like that can turn toxic. That can turn to sadness.
Yeah.
It's like it has like what I refer to like an opposite cousin, right? So love, hatred, you know, all these feelings have like opposing feelings, like these good feelings that we think can be good. If things don't go the way we want, they can turn into a toxic feeling.
Yeah.
But gratitude can't, you know, because gratitude is just the appreciation for something without expecting anything in return, right? And so when you're thinking about going up to someone in public, I think it's just good to have this mindset of gratitude. I get the opportunity to do this. I get the opportunity to, you know, shoot my shot, to do something bold, or I got the opportunity to see this beautiful person like walk across, you know, my face, and I get a chance to hit on her or him. And then I think if you're going to say something, you just pay them a non-sexual compliment that, and you don't have an ask, you know, because usually when you have an ask, then you're immediately you're putting that person on the spot. Hey, like, I think you're hot. Do you want to go out to dinner? Hey, you know,
Yeah.
as opposed to maybe just going up to someone and saying, "Man, like, can I just say, like, running into you just made my day."
Because
I hope you enjoy the rest of yours.
Because this is Jared's normal pickup line.
Yeah.
He goes up to
whatever he says is going to be
Jared,
so stupid.
no, it's not.
Go
He
ahead.
usually goes up to a lovely woman who I would never say this about. And he goes up and he goes, "I would love to pin you down and fill those 3 holes like a bowling ball."
That's
Zach.
weird. That's weird.
It's weird, dude. Like, you can't be going up to
Interesting.
people and being saying that. Like, Nick, is that in your book? Like, you can't be doing stuff like that?
It's implied.
It's implied.
It's implied.
Implied.
Implied. But yeah, I guess my point is like just if you think of it that way, that'll a surprise, especially that'll surprise the person you say that. You just because like who wouldn't want to hear that you
Made their day.
made their day?
Yeah.
You're not asking anything from them. You're not, you know, you're not putting them on the spot. You're just letting them know you made my day because I got to like meet you. And then like, trust me, if they're interested, they'll let you know.
Yeah, if they're interested, I feel like they'd be intrigued. They're like, well,
Yeah.
what about me made your day? Or like, what about, you know, they'd start asking kind of questions about that.
And at the worst, they'll say thank you and just keep on moving.
Yeah.
And either way, your mindset isn't, you didn't ask for anything. You're just like, hey, I made your day. And even if they blow you off, you thought, trust me, you will even feel better because you literally made their day by paying them that compliment.
Oh, no. The amount of people that give me like a compliment on the fly that you think about in your car later, you're like, oh, and they just, with no expectation, it's just like, oh,
I
that
do
was
look
nice.
good in this shirt. Like, fuck yeah.
It's more specific.
I know that's a little cheesy, but I just think it's a mindset, right? And that way you can get a little less nervous. And honestly, literally go out and practice complimenting. Start like you're heterosexual.
Yes. Yeah.
So compliment guys. Go out and start like complimenting men
Jared, let's
about
do
like
some role play
random
here.
things, and that way you won't get nervous.
but
But seriously, I'd practice with guys.
Your shirt looks fantastic.
Thank you.
I love your tattoos. I just started rapid fire.
He pulls out a condom immediately. Like, Jared, slow your roll,
Slow
buddy.
your roll.
Yeah, I just think complimenting and like if you pay someone a compliment and you just smile, usually they'll like if it's a woman you're interested, they might be like, oh, what's your name? And then maybe you have some there.
Yeah.
As opposed to be like, you're hot, let's grab dinner tonight. Like, what are you supposed to say to that? They're like, will you murder me? Like
100%.
Jared has to cross that one off.
I definitely
Should
think
I
that
give
like
you my number? Like you've just you create a safer environment, and that usually helps.
I definitely think that your way of knowing if we're interested is if we continue the conversation. Like, let us, after you've initiated, let us lead it a little bit. Because when people have come up to me and they've been like, yo, can I get your snap? And I'm like, no. Like,
I think
get
it's the
fuck
same
away
thing
from
in
me.
business. You're trying to give the other person the easiest route to say yes to something and being the most comfortable, so all the boxes are checked. So if you come in with that approachable, attitude, it's much
Like,
easier.
don't be fucking weird. Like, that's
it. Close the book. What if it was just
close the book. Just don't be fucking weird.
it's just one
It's
page.
hard to be not weird. I don't know. Like I get anxious too. Like it's
'cause
nerve wracking walking up to like a stranger
Oh, yeah.
that you want to put yourself out there and basically say, I like you.
Yeah.
I hope you feel the same way about me.
It's like at
And
least
they're-
your outer appearance is
and they're just like indifferent, like
Yeah.
it sucks. It sucks doing that.
Yeah.
So try to make it easier on yourself.
Point taken. Enough about me. Let's get into you.
I just really want you to get a date with this person.
Oh, do you?
I was invested from night one.
Oh yeah, you should be. We got a wingman.
Do you
from
know this
afar.
person?
I met her.
Oh,
Wait, this needs to be is it Crazy Stupid Love?
Good movie.
Is that where he
Oh,
the
trains?
no, isn't it the wingman?
No, Crazy Stupid Love. Ryan Gosling
Trains.
trains.
This is Ryan
Steve
Gosling.
Carell.
He's gonna train you. that'd be pretty great.
And then eventually I sleep with Marissa Tomei, who happens to be my my son's teacher.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, spoiler alert, man.
the movie came out in
Jeez.
like
This guy.
2012 or whatever.
What point did you go through enough trials of love and relationships where you thought, I might be able to speak on this. I might have a little bit more,
Quite a few.
Yeah.
I mean, probably when it was.
So how long have you been
broadcast.
doing your podcast?
We're about to hit our 500th episode.
Whoa.
2019.
Oh my gosh.
Holy
January
crap.
of 2019.
So you do it almost every other day?
3 times a week.
3 times a week.
Whoa.
Okay.
We started once a week for the first 9 months, then it was twice a week for a few more months, and then it was like 2.5 times a week. And now it's just 3 times a week.
What made you jump up? Like that's a lot of, especially for podcasts. And
Like,
yours are all like
I have,
an
like-
hour and a half each.
Oh, these are hour and a half episodes.
They end up being like an hour and
Are they
20
edited?
minutes. Yeah.
But when
Whoa.
you think, Jared, when you think of like a normal 9 to 5, it's like
Oh,
3
that's-
times a week he comes in and like talks and
That's
know what I mean?
true. That makes a
And
lot of
it's
sense.
like there are essentially 3 different shows, right? So I got my what's called Ask Nick, where people like call in, they have a story. This is my situation. This is I don't know what to do here. Do you have any like advice? And people like hearing those stories. I offer them advice, and it's a fun thing. And then I recap The Bachelor, other reality TV shows, as my audience quite likes reality TV.
Of course.
And then I get to also interview. You're a celebrity or expert, and then we often do this thing called texting office hours, where people call in and they want to like shoot their shot, and we help them draft a text.
That's really,
Oh, that's super
really
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I love that. And you just had you have amazing guests on your show. Like you just had Billy Eichner on.
Yeah.
That came out today, right?
He came out today. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
He was
cool.
awesome.
Have you
Yeah.
have you heard of the app Five?
I've not.
Okay, so it's kind of interesting that you like craft text for people, because it'd be a good service for you to go on, where it's kind of like Cameo, where people can pay, but it's way different. So they can pay like a little bit of money. Say you say your rate $100, $150, and like, how do I craft this text to my ex? And you have 5 minutes to talk, and you just get to craft a little. I just thought it might be interesting,
Maybe, yeah.
and you can get a sponsorship from them on whatever. I don't know.
That
I'm just
kinda
trying to
make me some money.
I'm trying to
you
make him some
hear
money.
about this app.
I might have some equity soon. Anyway, it's fine. It's
He's like,
fine.
oh, of course.
Okay.
Could be good. Yeah.
Wait. We've got. But we've got some questions for you, so you can get into what you're actually good at.
Well, let me ask you. I'll answer that last question
Yeah.
though, in terms of how many times I had to.
Oh, yeah.
date someone. Yeah, I've been through a lot of ups and downs. My buddy here, who's in the room, he's
You seen a couple?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some bad heartbreaks in my 20s, and I made bad situations worse by prioritizing like my ego and my competitive nature, and not accepting things that maybe weren't right for me just because my stubbornness and the idea of that, like, oh, you got to fight for love, which you do have to fight for love, but not to the point in which it's maybe not healthy and things like that.
What was your like biggest red flag in your 20s that you had to cast away for it to be possible to find somebody that you could actually
for myself?
Yeah.
I wasn't good at accepting things.
In what context?
Any context. I'm a persistent, stubborn person, which in business, great.
Yeah.
Love that for me. And I attribute a lot of my success to being a persistent, stubborn person. But in relationships, sometimes you have to accept certain realities that we don't want to accept. So
was compromise maybe a tough thing for you?
No, I've always been good at compromise in the sense, but it's just more like, for example, like I have great parents, still in love, still together. And when you're, 17, 18 years old and your parents are basically teaching you like, hey, listen, not every all relationships aren't super easy. You got to good times and bad times. You got to fight through love. Right. And so, okay, great. That makes sense. I can fight for something that's important to me. And then you get in relationships. So, and then, also like love is special, it's like you gotta, and so all I really knew about love is that it was really special and you had to fight for it. Right. So when you get in these young relationships and it's not working out, and then you start realizing, God, I'm not really compatible with, we're not really compatible here. We're not really compatible there, but you're just like, no, love will conquer all. And then when you go through a breakup, then your ego is kind of activated because you feel less than, so you want to fill that void. And so then you fight for the very thing instead of maybe assessing, well, how does this relationship make me feel? Well, I've been sad or confused and like, I don't really like how they make me feel. Like you don't really consider any of that. You just start going for it. You don't accept.
Like you had your persistence was kind of like blinders on a horse where you would push through even if you weren't happy in love.
Correct.
Just because,
you just kind of forced the issue because, well, if them breaking up with me or them not being a happy relationship, that made me feel less than.
Yeah.
And I focused on that feeling rather than thinking about, is this situation or this relationship really healthy for me? Am I happy? And things like that. So I spent a lot of energy doing that, which I think is fairly relatable for people.
Would you try to make the partner have them have the perfect relationship even if you were suffering? Is that like say the hardships, you say you didn't want them to feel bad or any type of way towards you because it made you feel lesser. So were you trying to give them everything even though it's taken away from what you had?
I wouldn't put it like that, but I was often trying to do 100% of my half and then 50% of theirs.
Gotcha.
And you can only do 100% of your half.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I have a lot of those tendencies as well. Like the people pleasing kind of like, not overachieving, but just overcompensating for a relationship kind of thing.
It's mostly ego-driven stuff. I mean, like when I got cheated on by my then fiance back in the day. His wife was the one who told me about it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How was that? How did they break that conversation to you?
That's a ball to drop.
How long were you guys engaged?
Not very long.
But still, I mean, you guys were engaged. Like
we were engaged. It was a bummer. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, ego. And so yeah, no one wants to think they can be cheated on. That's one. Yeah. That's usually if you got cheated on for the first time. That's usually that thought you have is like
me. Yeah, it's like
how could I get cheated? And so then immediately that's all you're prioritizing. That's all you're thinking about. And so. I view that kind of experience in my life as a turning point in my life. That's when I really started changing my perspective on my choices and how my ego is playing a role in my choices. And that's really when I got into like relationships and understanding all that.
When the cheating happened, in your mind, were you at first blaming yourself? Like, why wasn't I enough? And then when did you maybe have that acceptance of, oh, that was their issue the whole time? Because I don't know if that your ego brought you to that point.
For sure, yeah. And probably, well, again, I read this book called The Power of Intentions.
Sorry, to piggyback off that, for like the listeners, if they're going through that, how maybe like a roadmap of how they can get over that, and that is the other person's issue. I'm sure you're about to get to that, but
I mean, it took me a few months to get there, and for me, like that, I had this specific memory because after it happened, I took some time to kind of be by myself, and I started going out, and then you'd run into someone, and they'd be like, "Oh, so like, what happened?"
Yeah, it's the worst.
And then you're just like, just ended.
Just you know, when a different
mutual
Wasn't right.
I mean,
and then like having as somebody that has been like cheated on in every single relationship I've been in, it gets so exhausting to have to watch a person's face once you tell them like, oh, cheated on me, and then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, no, you didn't deserve that, da-da-da. And it's just the conversation gets exhausting, and then you're like, just mutual.
But yeah, I mean, I guess it can definitely be exhausting, but I will say, my first reason for saying, oh, it just ended, because I was like ashamed to even admit it.
Me too.
And then finally I was just like, wait, why am I ashamed? And so I was like, I had this conscious thought of like, well, next time this happens, I'm just going to admit to it. And I had the response like you said, well, again, it can get exhausting, but like, oh, that was shitty of them. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh, what's wrong with you? I didn't get this look of like, ugh.
Yeah. Like a leper. Like they didn't look at you like they could.
Because that was the feeling I had. I was just I didn't want anyone to know. I felt like I was wearing this kind of scarlet letter. And so that was kind of a turning point for me in my head mentally. I was like, yeah, that's definitely her problem.
Oh, of course. Are there
that's
any
really
things to maybe, I mean, this is kind of, it's situation based, but anything that you can kind of look for in a relationship that you might have missed if that situation's happening, just for maybe,
like
I know
warning signs.
Yeah, 'cause
Do you look back and go, oh, of course?
Yes and no. I'm reluctant to enter it specifically because like some people are just really good fucking liars, and you can really feel like you're insane if you're being cheated on. And then like, again, then you start I should have known. And like, I think people should be easier on themselves if they get cheated on. That being said, yeah, I mean, I looked back because like I'm just a big believer in like choosing to trust who you're with. Like, don't bring that baggage in the past relationships into your new relationship. They're not that person. And again, like, if you get cheated on, they just cease being the person you thought you knew, which that's the part you can be sad about. Is just like, like I thought they were this and that was wrong, but like you didn't do anything to do that. But yeah, I mean, she was coming home at 3 or 4 in the morning. I just thought she was hanging out with her friends, which she could have been hanging out with her friends. Yeah. So there was certainly like little things of like inconsistency where you're like, I should have trusted my gut a little bit more, but what are you supposed to do? Like, it's tough to be in a relationship to be like, you must be cheating on me.
And then how did you keep yourself from carrying that with you to the next relationship and then becoming overprotective?
Oh, one, I made it a priority to just not, right?
Yeah.
And then I just, again, acceptance over the reality is that I can't stop anyone from ever cheating on me. I don't have control over people's choices.
Yeah.
And I can do my best early on in dating someone to focus on getting to know them and ask them questions and see if I get a good sense of their character. But even then, nothing is guaranteed. So instead of like being paranoid and constantly obsessing over if someone might cheat on you, you just have to choose to trust, because I've lived through being cheated on before. It sucked, don't get me wrong. But like once I like had this realization of, I'm just going to be embarrassed for them, not for me. And then I'm going to decide to like see it as I'm grateful I found out this way rather than finding out later on after we got married or with kids or shit like that. And then I just stopped being afraid of it ever happening. It was just like, well, if it happens, that would suck. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to like, if you enter into a relationship, it might end. You know, like shit. And I'm going to be sad if it does. Like, you have to take risks in life. So once you take the risk, what's the point of making it worse by obsessively worrying about it and then making your new partner feel like you don't trust them because of someone they don't even know did something to you? And then like, nothing will kill a relationship worse than like someone apologizing for things they're not doing. Yeah. When if you, like, for example, like jealousy in a relationship comes from it's an insecurity, right? Mm-hmm. So that could be an insecurity that you've dealt with from your past, maybe some like attachment style or trauma or whatever, or something maybe you've been cheated on. Or maybe your partner's doing something that's making you feel a little insecure. Maybe they're spending all their time with their friends and they're just not focused on you, but they used to, right? You sense a shift in how they prioritize you. That can make you feel insecure. And then all of a sudden you start wondering like, oh fuck, why am I asking these jealous questions of like who you with, who you're hanging out with and stuff like that. But it all comes from an insecurity. And so you can be insecure at anything in a relationship. So again, it was just back to being like, well, me like doing this and bringing this in this relationship is only gonna ruin the chances of this new relationship doing anything. So I just actively chose not to, and then I just stopped being afraid of it happening.
Yeah. Do you think there's a way to actually fully forgive someone if it did happen and you want to try to work it out? Or do you think that's kind of just a dark cloud that's always going to be looming over
Cheating?
a relationship? Yeah.
I mean, there's been forgiving and forgetting too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like cheating and credit history are kind of like the same.
Yeah.
Past performance predict future occurrences, and the only thing to like gain that trust back is time.
Yeah.
You can't like.
That's a good analogy.
If you get cheated on, you can't. You can want to trust. I mean, a lot of people, it's just like, babe, I made a mistake, and you want to forgive them. You do, and maybe you're, but you don't, because you like it. Trust is, and that's the way I look at it. Piggybacking off of what I just said, like recommending anyone to just decide to trust, even if you don't know everything you need to know to fully trust someone, but to give someone that you want to start a relationship with of any kind your trust.
Yeah.
And that is sacred in a sense, that because you're doing it without them having earned it. You just choose to do it. So what they need to fucking do is really respect that and take care of it. And if they violate that, it's just really hard. It's just hard to get back.
Yeah.
Right. And so it just takes a lot to, you can want to forgive all you want, but like, whether you actually forgive or not is sometimes not really even up to us. It's kind of up to our subconscious.
Because I've always equated like breaking trust in a relationship. It's like you break a plate for the first time. It goes on the ground, and there's like 3 pieces like to the plate. You can glue them back together. There's still those scars though that you remember, but then you break it again, and it's even shattered into more pieces. Yeah. And then the more you break that trust, eventually you can't even put this plate back together.
Exactly.
So
that's great.
It's
really tough to do. Because it just always happened. And then I'm a big believer in like, the world's full of people who haven't hurt you.
Yeah.
Who haven't, who you didn't give them your trust and they didn't.
I think that's one of the biggest takeaways we can take from this podcast is just hearing like the world is full of people that haven't hurt you.
Yeah.
Where so many people from their scars, they try not to get new ones, when in reality, probably a lot more people have Band-Aids than they have weapons,
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't maybe see that after being hurt.
How do you think, as somebody that like genuinely only sees the weapons, how do you switch your mindset into seeing the Band-Aids versus the weapons? Because I've got a big problem with that. Like I know that like.
And when you say only see the weapons, explain that to me.
I was in a very, very toxic relationship. Yeah. And honestly, ever since then, my guard is majorly up with not even just people in relationships, but friendships, because we started out as best friends and it really ruined my perception of things. And having to just like, how you said, like the people that you get into a relationship with, you choose to just give your trust over even without knowing them fully.
Yeah. I think it goes back to, I would say if my book's about one thing, it's not about, it's not. It's like I said this in the first sentence of the book. It's not about understanding other people. It's about understanding your own choices. I'm a big believer in the fact that no one lies to us more than we lie to ourselves. And it's, I'm in my head a lot. I'm overthinking.
Just perspective.
It's just so easy to lie to yourself. It's just, like, should I eat this cookie? Yes. Like, even if it's that simple. And so, sometimes if we get really good at lying to ourselves, we get really bad at trusting ourselves. And if we can't trust ourselves, that makes us nervous if we can trust other people. So I would be curious, about your ego and how you let that play a role in your choices. As someone who has a big ego myself and who was not even aware of it or even considered it, and certainly wasn't good at controlling it, I realized I don't think I trusted myself very well, right? And so, because like you're constantly seeking validation, and if you're susceptible to seeking validation rather than fulfillment, then you're gonna say yes to things that you might not need to. And sometimes we're just afraid to hear the truth, even from ourselves or other people. So we won't ask those kind of qualifying questions. We won't check in. We won't ask, why do you really feel that way? Or why are you doing this? Or why are you saying this? And you just kind of ignore it, and you push it down and you push it down. And then you find out they cheated on you, type of thing. And again, while cheating is never the fault of the person being cheated on, one way you can help, prevent that is just good at facing the possibility of hearing disappointing things and asking questions and listening to your gut and not lying to yourself because you're afraid of what your ego might say to you. And when I say that, it's just like, because when your ego's activated, it's literally like, it's essentially, not literally, essentially telling you, like, you're stupid. You hear that voice of like, why do you fucking do that? You're a fucking idiot. That voice in your head, and things like that. And we don't like hearing that. So we often very much make a lot of choices to try to make that not happen, as opposed to just get it better at ignoring our egos and just saying that, well, that wasn't my fault. I didn't have control over that. Like, it does not a reflection of me. Like I'm hurting and I'm going to heal and I'm going to, move on. And it's just getting better at that. So you kind of reverse engineer. Get better at trusting yourself. Get better at seeing rejection is a bad thing, but clarity to help you make choices that are better for you long term. And then I think that'll help you trust other people, because you will know that, like, you accept the fact that you can't control them, but you can still, like, you'll get really good at just like asking people questions, paying attention to their answers. If it's just like, I don't know, that sounds kind of shady, and then you'll know whether
you'll develop like more trust for your intuition. And
your intuition. But if you're lying to yourself because you're afraid to find out hard truths, then your intuition isn't usually very good.
I think this book is going to help a lot of people. Don't text your ex happy birthday. I just want to make sure everybody knows the title. But what are some things that people might learn from it, like some that are in the pages that you really hope are some takeaways for people, and where their mind can start changing into a more positive light when it comes to relationships?
My big hope is that, like, in any type of relationship, whether it's a romantic one or a friendship, is that, like, I used to always feel stuck in my thoughts and helpless. And so my hope is that people will feel unstuck with whatever situation. But other than, like, just learning how to be more honest with yourself,
so subtle.
That was amazing.
Your bladder is maybe half the size of a
I mean, it's kind of written in a way where it kind of goes through the, like, cycle of a relationship, from like meeting someone, dating, to being in a relationship, deciding if you want to move in together, or deciding you want to leave a relationship and then getting over them. But also, like, I guess my favorite chapter, to answer your question, is probably chapter 10, getting over them, because I really struggled with that. Yeah. And it can be really hard, and people can love to hurt so good and romanticize their thoughts and feelings on something. And again, to feel unstuck, my greatest hope for this book is that if people struggle with that, they read it, that they will find a little bit more peace and feel a little less unstuck, because it can be a very scary thing to feel heartbreak, because there's literal fear of wondering if you'll ever stop feeling this feeling again. Yeah. And I hope that people reading some of this book will give people a little more optimism in that space.
Well, we've got a list of questions here, but one that I wanted to highlight is, after a breakup, do you have any advice on letting that person go, and maybe the toughness of seeing them with someone else?
Yeah.
I mean, because I think that's the hardest part about a breakup, is the breakup's maybe over, it's given some time, and then you see them first with that other person.
A couple of things. One, going back to that word gratitude, I think when you're in a relationship of any kind, or a relationship is ending, it's important to consider two thoughts: hope and gratitude. Hope is something you want for yourself about future things. Hope is not something you want in a relationship, because hope is signaling something that it's an unfulfilled desire, which means that you have a desire for it, a need, and you're not receiving that desire in a relationship. Like, I hope my partner pays more attention to me, or something like that. And so again, someone dating your your ex dating someone else, that's his ego, right?
Yeah.
You compare yourself. Oh, I suck at this. They must be good at all these things. And then what happens is like you think about all the things your partner complained about you. Why you never did this? You never did this. You always do this. And then you're just like, well, they must be good at all that shit that I'm not, right?
Yeah.
And that has nothing really to do with that, right? Maybe there's just one thing they obsessed over. And that's just your ego being activated. But to help control that is to like list all the things that you hoped would happen in a relationship that you didn't get.
Yeah.
I hoped this, I hoped that, things you didn't like. I mean, I don't like list building when it comes to like picking a partner, but I think it's pretty darn effective when you're like to remind yourself of what you are,
Of your values,
of your values, but like what you are freeing yourself from.
Yeah.
Because when in breakups we're often focused on what we're losing. And sometimes that loss is just the literal time you got to spend with them. You date for a long time, you get these habits, it's comfortable, and now it's just like, well, what do I do on a Sunday afternoon now?
Yeah.
And
it's during those moments that you think about them the most.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is our time slot. And those are the jarring like knives and twists of being like, those are the prison shanks of love,
But in reality, you write down that list, all the things you hoped would change, but like, well, I no longer have to watch them play video games for 2 hours, And maybe that's a completely different perspective, but all you were thinking about is like, now I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And so we do that all the time. And so I think we let our egos make our minds wander into things that aren't productive, and it's not like your ego doesn't really give a shit about you.
Yeah.
It just wants to be validated. I always hate shading on ego. Ego's great because in a sense, are you comic book fans?
Love
Jared just got hard under the table.
You'll love this then. You'll love this. I look at ego as the Phoenix in X-Men.
Okay. Yeah.
And because I often, if you hear me talk, I shit on the ego a lot, right? And it's not my intention, but ego is a superpower, like the rising of the Phoenix. But it's an incredibly powerful superpower that most of us don't know how to control, which is why Dr. Xavier like did a whole spell on her because if she didn't have it, she was just like fucking like killing people like left or right.
The ego's a temperamental bitch.
Yes. And so, but ego allows us to like think, I can fucking do that. Like I can move to LA and fucking make an amazing podcast and do all this shit and meet people. And like that ego helps with that. But like, it also just fucks us up when we don't first and foremost, just acknowledge that it exists. You know, what do they say? Like the greatest trick the devil ever played on mankind is, making them believe it didn't exist. Right. But if you're not aware of its existence, then you don't know how to like acknowledge it and control it. But it will it is a powerful thing that can really, separate you from the two. So
I like
ego's the
that.
Phoenix.
If you don't know it exists, you don't know how to acknowledge it and control it. I really like that because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially if they're going through relationship issues where their ego is hit, and then that's where they start acting out because they don't understand what's happening to them.
Yeah, because we don't want to when our hearts are broken, we have this thought of being like, well, did it not mean anything, and shit like that. And even having that thought of, well, did it not mean anything is what also your ego letting you know that not only should you feel bad about them breaking up with you or cheating on you, but you're also stupid because you didn't realize that you invested 2 years in something that meant nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And so we'll even think about that, whether it meant something to them, and then we get focused on that.
Do you have any and we don't have to spend all the time on breaking up, but any tactical advice on easing the mind after
coping mechanisms?
Or forgetting faster, if that makes sense. I
don't think you need to forget. I mean, maybe
forget, but a lot of people hold on to that breakup because I remember when you were in your breakup, it's like that guy didn't treat you right, but you were still like, why I still want him. I still
loved her so good.
Yeah.
It's because it's acceptance. The hardest part about it's really accepting. It's not blaming yourself for things that you couldn't control. Not letting yourself feel less than because someone of any kind decided they didn't want you in their life at some point.
Yeah.
And just that alone makes you feel.
Or even if you were the one breaking up, just like the ending of a relationship in general.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, that can be tough. I mean, it's much easier. Usually what happens for the person breaking up is they want that's when they come back because it's not as rosy as they thought it would be.
This one's for you, Jared, by the way.
This one is for you, Jared.
But yeah, I say that your sadness or your pain doesn't mean they were special.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense that just because you're sad or just because you're hurting doesn't make them better than what you thought, you know, because like breakups are they suck. You're going to be sad, but it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's not what's best for you or moving on. So a lot of it is it's just taking those kind of toxic thoughts of, well, I need to get them back because I don't want to be alone, or I need to get them back because I don't want to feel less than.
But
and
also,
that gets us stuck in those kind of thoughts.
Also, I think it's one of the honestly best parts of life because
Breakups?
yeah, because that's when you are at your lowest.
I agree.
And when you're at your, like, you have nothing to compare it to if you've never been there, if that makes sense. You've never been tested that way. So when you go through a breakup and you finally get to a place, at one point you exhale and you're like, I'm in a really good place. And it, for whatever reason, it really shines when you've been through something like that, and it makes you stronger.
I agree. How long ago were you cheated on?
A year and a
Yeah,
half.
so that's not that long ago.
yeah.
I think in 10 years.
And it was like for 2 years.
Yeah. In 10 years, it's gonna be a positive story. You're gonna
What was that first breath like? I remember you said one day you're like, wait, I didn't think about him yesterday.
I think
You know, like what did that feel like? That first breath of, oh, I think I'm forgetting. You
there
know?
was a point in my life where I realized, because I would check up on his social media like often once when we broke up, just because I was like, what is he doing? Who is he with? What's his life like? Because that is all I'd known for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I'd been so manipulated and drawn out from everyone I knew, including family. Like he was the only person I communicated with. So there was a point in time where I don't remember whether I saw him or I looked at his social media and I was like, it wasn't necessarily that I hadn't thought about him. It was that I looked at a person and I was like, you're a stranger to me now. Like I know nothing about his life. I know nothing about what he's doing, how he feels, who he's in communication with. I know nothing about his family, his siblings, nothing. And weirdly, that was the breath of fresh air that I had, because I was like, a stranger, when I see a stranger walk on the street, I was like, they have no hold over me. They have I have no feelings towards them. They have no feelings towards me. I know nothing about their life. They haven't affected me in any way.
But more importantly, like you weren't assessing any of like their decisions in life as a reflection
100%
of yourself.
And so I think that's when I had like a breath of fresh air. And I think that it was not necessarily like, yeah, and also obviously the days that I went by and I realized I hadn't thought about him in a week, and then I hadn't thought about him, in a month or something. They were really refreshing. But I think that the unfortunate part about the relationship that I went through was that I don't think about him and I don't think about our relationship. I just think about the effects that it had on me and the rest. Mainly, it's the effects that I had mainly on my friends and family that I think about mainly, because I mean, like, these two people mean more to me than anyone in the entire world. Like,
suck, so that doesn't mean a lot.
but like, I held so much guilt over how they felt during that time period. Like, and I still do. I hold so much guilt over everyone else in that situation, because I was so like one track minded. I was like, no, this only affects me. It's my relationship and my breakup. It can only affect me, but it was affecting everyone. So I think that's really what I struggle to let go of.
I hear you. I've been there. I mean, it's kind of ego still a little bit in a sense, because you said guilt. Like, because before you said the word guilt, I was just thinking like you just kind of have to forgive yourself and just. I know what it's like to miss out on moments with friends, and put my parents were worried about me and shit like that, but they just people want to love you, right? And that when you like you're thinking about what you did to them, and that's making you feel bad because you shouldn't have done that, so you're stupid or you're wrong. Like, again, that's your ego. And back to when you were saying, like, when you were stalking their Instagram page, what are they doing now? Who are they hanging out with? Well, you're not really actually finishing that sentence, because what your brain was actually thinking, who are they hanging out with instead of me?
Well, yeah.
And that's what you were really thinking while you're going through and looking at their Instagram. So I think it's just, again, accepting it's an appreciation, like, change your narrative, flip it on its head, like, again, that's why I mean, like, truly, like, in 10 years from now, it's gonna bring a smile to your face. It's gonna bring a smile to your face because you'll have grown so much from it. It's gonna be such a formative period in your life that like it's gonna be your barometer for everything else. How I can trust people, like how I'm gonna value my time, what I ask of family and friends, and you're gonna hone in on that, and you're gonna be like super grateful that happened, and you're gonna forget about the pain because. And the truth is, like, not to sound like the older guy, but like you just when you look back on things that happen, you just start seeing it differently. Just like a movie that needs like that arc in that movie where things have to go to shit before they get better. And so you look back on your life and you remember it as more of a movie, and you remember it as like this like really shitty time that you remember being sad, but you survived it, and so you're proud of yourself that you went through it, and then you realize how much more it did. So and for you right now, I think it's just accepting that it happened, forgiving yourself. If you want to do the whole, what I'm guessing you probably did, maybe whoever you feel bad for, family, to say, hey, I just want to say I really appreciate that time that you were really there for me. And I'm sorry if I was selfish, and I bet I only thought of myself, and I bet I was like always talking about my stories, and I bet I probably wasn't asking you a lot about your life.
100%. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I was
Let's go. Let's hear it. I want to hear it right now.
I have said sorry so many times.
But yeah, but
I should get back with him.
Right.
Complete 180 take.
I think that I was so like you're very, very much right. Like I did not realize it was affecting other people, like I said. But I think like you're right, my ego does come into play, because I think the main thing that I was so hurt about was that like I couldn't get out of bed. I was so distraught and so hurt by these situations that I was just like bedridden. I wasn't talking, I wasn't eating, I wasn't doing a damn thing, and I would check social media and he was like in Miami, partying, going to clubs, living his best life, got a new girlfriend after 2-3 weeks. Like, I mean, I guess it wasn't a new girlfriend. They'd been dating for a while. But, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was like all these things had started to happen. And I was like, how are you so okay? And why am I not? Like, and that, you're right, my ego played a huge part in that, because I was like, I feel so stupid for allowing myself to be in this situation for 2 years, and he doesn't even give a fuck. So it's like, how did I let myself get there? And da-da-da-da-da. And I still think that way now. So I think I very much need to work on the forgiving aspect of like, it's not your fault.
Yeah, and again, that's your ego. Like, what, are you a mind reader?
No.
Like,
No, I am not.
And I say this to myself, and then maybe this will help you forgive yourself a little bit. I will always forever choose to be gullible and naive than just like not believing in anyone and are a total cynic. Because like there's nothing wrong with believing and trusting people. Like, you're not stupid for it, you know? Like, I mean, listen, if someone tells you like something, you know, like, I guess there's a too gullible, but like people like tell me I'm gullible sometimes. I'm like, you know, someone I barely know says something that sounds like kind of nuts, but like also totally possible.
But you're on board, man. You're right on
board.
train.
And I'm like, yeah, that sounds crazy. When's that happen? And like, oh, I'm just kidding. I'm like, all right, well,
All right.
Fuck.
man. Like, you know, if I have a good bullshit meter. If you tell me something that's like not possible, I'll. Yeah. But if it's possible,
Well, here we
like,
go. Jared's a good person.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. The BS is up.
So yeah, I just didn't judge myself for, you know, believing people, you know, and it's just like, and quite frankly, I started patting myself on the back for being someone who was brave enough to like just give people my trust. And it was kind of a way I manipulated my ego. And
I guess I'll start doing that.
It's just like, we're not perfect, you know, and I know we know that. We know to say that, but I don't know if we often
Believe
it or just even name the things.
Well, sometimes we like read the headline of like the file, but we don't download it, if that makes sense. It's like it's in the cloud right now, but it's not on our computer. Like we got to download like that file sometimes. But before we forget, Alyssa, can you come here?
I don't even know.
I know you don't want to be on camera. Can you sit right here just for a second? We're going to ask her question because she helped us come with the questions, and the one that she needed help with was right at the top. Okay. So, are you a little nervous? Okay. No worries. Okay. So when someone isn't looking for a serious relationship, do you think that that can ever change? Or are you always hoping that one outcome that will never happen? Should I say the rest, or does that kind of cover it?
Can you read it again for me one more time?
Okay.
Read the example
whole
with
thing.
it.
Okay, when someone isn't looking for a serious relationship, do you think that can ever change? Or are you always hoping for the outcome that will never happen? Example, go out with someone who isn't looking for something serious and you are, but you like them and you get along well. Is it too naive to think you keep pursuing this person that you can change their mind into thinking you can be in a relationship?
A couple of things. I'm not talking to you or anything.
Feel free
You're just
to.
right in my eye line.
You may.
Yeah, they're not going to change for you. They don't really change. No one, people.
Hurt. That I could feel the heart drop from here.
That hurt is your ego. I say ego a lot. I hope that doesn't sound annoying, but like people don't change for anyone but themselves.
And I think a lot of people
Right.
hear ego as like a very negative. I don't know. It's like a one track thing.
You very much changed my mind on an ego. Like I always thought it was a really, really bad thing to have, which is like I guess it is, but you've made me think that. Anyway, I don't know how to explain
that's
that,
what I'm
but-
saying. I don't know you very well. I don't know any of you guys, but like the little bit I know, you all seem like successful people. You have this great show. You're living in a city. It's really hard to make it. Like that takes more than just like a pretty face and a little bit of knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need kind of that dumb kind of like I can fucking do this shit, right? But that's that same confidence that like really fucks you up when things don't go your way, right?
Yeah,
and so
I
it's
love that you
good
said
and
that
bad.
about business and love. It's like
Yeah.
great in business, but if you carry that over to love, sometimes you can
Sure.
be.
Our- our strengths are often our weaknesses.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But bottom line, they're not
Anyway,
gonna
so
change.
they're not change. So yes, they're not. And people, when people say I'm not looking for, no one's looking for a relationship until they meet the person they want to be in a relationship with.
Don't just focus on that line, Alyssa, because I know you will. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, got it.
Another thing too is to help you accept this and then not be sad about it. I would spend a lot of time thinking about how that person actually makes you feel, not how you tell yourself you feel about them. I think there's a big difference because people often do the latter. People will meet someone and be like, oh, they're so hot, and they like made me laugh, and they like to travel, and I like their car. I like them. And they just decide to like them. And from that point forward, all they're obsessed with is making sure they are liked back. And all you are is seeking their validation. You're not even like getting any fulfillment out of it. And then when you actually start thinking about how they make you feel, you start listing off feelings like confused, upset, less than, and that's not, so like you don't feel loved, you know what I'm saying? And this is how that, and it's your ego is obsessed with their validation. That is not someone, when you think about that, they start becoming less attractive as a partner that you really, because now you're thinking, I like them. I know we could be good together. I see the potential and blah, 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 blah. But what you, like, it sounds like, I've been in your shoes, like we've all been there, right? And it's like, you're just seeking out this validation because you decided probably way back when, early on, without much thought, that you liked them for a couple of things, and then you stopped paying attention to how that person actually made you feel. So I would actually think, like, list off how that actual feeling. We don't often consider our feelings. We'll say love, I love you, and then we think, well, I'm just like, what does that mean to me? But I guess I'm just excited, or things like that. But he's almost certainly not changing. And the only way to find out is to like walk away. You investing more is not going to give you the outcome you want. It's you walking away and making them realize that they lost something they want to prioritize is the only way to find out if they're willing to prioritize you.
And as a reminder, Alyssa, didn't you guys go like a year without talking because you didn't talk to him and then he just hit you with a happy birthday?
Hey, don't text your ex happy birthday. We tried to tell. It's the whole thing of this podcast. Listen, you've done it immediately.
You deserve better.
You do deserve.
You really do.
You are a nice person.
You're a
one of the better humans I've ever met.
Yes. And as people that have not known you too long, you definitely do.
Listen, I was in a situationship for a long time with I was on the hopeful side, as I call it, of the situationship. That would be you in this case. But you're stuck. That's it. That's all. And it's easy to feel stuck because you had decided long ago that their validation was something you needed, and you don't. And you started telling yourself that validation was actually special and nurturing, and that would actually make you happy, but it wouldn't. you know, because validation, you know, it's a tricky thing.
How does that make you feel?
Like I just went to therapy.
But you feel a little more enlightened?
I do, yeah.
Okay, good. Because he sucks. Sometimes that's got to be just said too. Okay. What's the difference between a red flag and I would say a yellow flag of something that maybe like
I think of it as more as non-negotiables and pet peeves.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. We were trying to figure
We
out
were trying to think of the words to use for that besides red flag and yellow flag.
This is
for so long.
this is his profession, guys.
I
He's
know.
There you go. Well, that's not even mine. I learned it from a behavioral therapist called Logan Urey, who wrote the book How to Not Die Alone. She was on my podcast.
Oh yeah.
So
Wow.
With the 2 toothbrushes.
I think that's
Yeah, on the
that.
cover.
Wait,
yeah.
you read that.
Yeah, I love.
Like Logan didn't come up with the word non-negotiable, but using
Yeah.
it in the reference
Yeah.
in terms of relationships. But yeah, so yeah, think of it in that in that context, because yeah, like people want to joke about like a red flag, like an ick, like girls like to talk about icks and things like that.
Yeah.
And a lot
Those
of
are just pet peeves. Those aren't red flags.
yeah, and so a red flag is just something that you just. It's a boundary, you know, you've set for yourself. Boundaries you don't set for other people, you set for yourself. And then you express those through expectations, and then you see if they're willing to respect them. But yeah, it's just something you're just not willing to like put up with in a relationship. And maybe that's like different religion. Maybe it's just like not, you know, living long distance. Maybe it's just like I don't want to date someone who like swears at me, who raises their voice. You know, so that those
Yeah.
whatever
Why are you pointing at me?
decided.
Oh, you just tend to raise your voice
Yeah.
and cuss. Not a big deal.
Next question.
Oh no,
Asking for a friend. Why shouldn't you text your ex happy birthday?
Do you tell me why you think you should first?
I was just being nice. I
No,
thought
you're not. Who are you? The being dumped, or are you the breaker upper?
Break-
I was
Breaker-upper.
the breaker upper.
Yeah, you're not being nice.
Oh.
Thank you. I
Well,
have been
she
thinking.
texted me happy birthday,
No.
so I thought I'd return
Because
the favor.
she-
Well, she
is-
shouldn't have been texting you that either. In the split second when she receives your message and it says Jared, and she's thinking, and again, if she has any hope, if she's indifferent,
She
then
does.
fuck it. But
She
if
does.
she has any
hope.
hope in that split second of like, oh, it's Jared, and it just says happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. You're just reminding them that you don't give a fuck.
Thank you so
You know,
much.
and then now they've spent the rest of their birthday like you reminding them after they got their hopes up that they don't care about you.
Now, what happens if my mom also texts them happy birthday?
Oh my God, tell mom to stop because she's hanging on to the fact that your mom still gives a shit.
that's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think that, like,
I gotta text my mom real quick.
hopeful people are really good at lying to themselves because they're holding on to hope, and to hold on to hope, you actually have to like find things that don't exist to keep the hope alive.
I think that's our number one evolutionary quality is hope when it comes to human beings. So it's the same thing when we were Neanderthals. It's like we had hope that there'd be food out there, and
Yeah.
now we have basic instincts of everything's not very hard. So now that hope is fueled with something that's really triggering in their brain. And the most recent triggering thing, instead of finding food, is finding the love back with you. So you gotta
stop that.
I feel for her, and I was literally thinking
Look
about.
at him.
So do I.
No,
No,
but I
that's
was
why I was
literally
trying to be
thinking-
nice.
if you really cared about her, you'd let her.
You'd let her go, and
you'd
you'd
let her hate you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I truly believe. No, I am so. It's such a hard thing to do, but like. Loving somebody in a breakup is the hardest thing you
Jared's
can.
like, why are you picking on me?
No, because it's true. Because loving somebody in a
So
breakup,
stressful.
as somebody that was on that side of things, it is the hardest thing. And the minute he allowed me to hate him, I moved on. And I was like, why am I going to put energy and time into a person I don't like anymore? Goodbye.
She's gotta hate you before she can be indifferent about you.
Okay, so next time I'll tell her "fuck you" on her
No,
birthday.
Jared.
I'm
You
kidding. I'm
you
kidding.
You just
I'm
let
kidding.
her go. You let her go live her
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Because
thought I
if
was just
she-
being-
Are you hitting her up now and then? You
No,
bored?
no, I really don't.
Hey, bud.
I really
You
don't.
guys went and got coffee last time you were in her hometown.
That was because she yelled at me the last time I didn't do that.
Well,
Because she has hope.
She still wants to play
Okay,
house.
well, we didn't have this podcast before,
But
so
also
I
you-
didn't know.
I get it, but like the girl has hope, and she flat out told you to your face that she still has hope for you and she's still in love with you. You need to let her go,
Yeah.
well, if you have no intention of ever getting back with
which
her,
you don't.
right?
Even if you had intention
Oh,
in the
yeah.
future, you still let them go now. You don't get to like put people on hold.
No, I'm not putting people on hold.
You kinda are.
But in her mind, maybe.
I'm not saying your intention is to put her on hold, but you are
Elevator music is playing.
Unintentionally doing.
you are hanging out with her at your convenience, and you are also you would rather not be the bad guy than let her go.
I feel like such a piece of shit. Okay.
I mean, we've all done this.
Yeah, I know.
We've all done it.
And that's
I've
also
been there.
something to not beat yourself up about as well.
It's more normal to do what you did. We're all selfish people, you know. Like and we're very good at, again, lying to ourselves and convincing ourselves and manipulating ourselves to be like, no, I'm just being nice.
Because you actually have zero intent of being like malicious in that way.
Oh, okay. Being malicious. Okay.
Yeah, no. We're
You're about to go in.
The reason why we are friends, the reason why we are so close to you is because we're able to have these real, genuine conversations with you. Just like 2 minutes
normally we
before.
don't have them on the fucking internet.
But it's the same thing. It's just like 2 minutes before everyone walked in the door, you're like, I'm not trying to be mean, but your face looks really shiny. You need to go fix that. And I'm like,
normally you guys complain about
because,
that.
but thank you, because like that's a real, genuine conversation that not everyone has with people. It's stupid, but like, you know what I mean?
if
It's
you-
the same thing.
Here's also another ego thing. If you think about this not as we're attacking you, but this is going to help someone else.
Exactly.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's very true.
Well,
It's
I
like
mean,
everything that you said,
Switch the mindset.
slightly a little bit of my ego's like, damn, like whatever, like, ugh. But like in my head, I'm also like, that's very sound, great advice that I need to take into account. And I'm like, this person just wants to help other people. Take it. Fucking take the advice.
well, I mean, and what you just got, not to pick on you more, but I'm glad this topic came up because it really is what my book's about in a sense, because yeah, like you seem like a really great guy, and whoever this
you.
person you talked about, I'm sure you really care about her, and I don't for a second thought that you were ever maliciously being like, I'm just gonna put this bitch on hold. And that was my alter ego voice because of someone who doesn't exist. So I wasn't referring to anyone as a bitch. But I don't believe that you ever thought that or said that.
No.
But again, like it was really easy for you to lie to yourself and just be like, I'm just doing this to be nice, because that was a lie that you told to yourself first. And the truth is, you just didn't want to feel bad, or you wanted someone to go get coffee with, or you didn't want her to yell at you because, you know, like those were all different motives than not being the bad guy. And these were all these little lies you told to yourself. And then that made it hard for you to trust yourself. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like these are these little things we tell ourselves all the time that fuck us up.
Man, he's reading me like
and you know what I've also realized is that like I get attached to my friends' partners. I genuinely do. This conversation has also made me realize that like our friend group has to let her go now. Like I have to like distance myself from her, because when she DMs me and
they're fucking going to go see her.
I'm not
Sure,
actually
I
going
love
to go
her.
see
I'm
her.
trying to get with her myself.
But like, no, when she like DMs me and she's like, hey, if you're ever in Chicago, like I'd love to see you and stuff. And she swipes up on my story and likes my stuff. Like I like the girl. She's really, really sweet. But this conversation has also made me realize, for her own benefit and for her own sanity, I have to let her go as somebody that's a part of your friend group and somebody that is your best friend. I need to distance myself from her too.
Like, listen, I don't think you have to give up a friendship.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Then I won't.
if you genuinely want to be friends with her, if you
Yeah,
were
I
being
really do. I
nice
like
to
her.
her out of like loyalty to him, then you no longer
No, I
have
really
to do
like
that.
the girl.
Yeah, it's not your job.
Yeah, you be friends with her.
It's not your job to get like make sure, you know, like I think him treating her like she no longer exists will do the trick.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool.
And,
So I can still be friends with her.
yeah, and saying when she calls you out and she yells at you and she says you're being an asshole, you stand your ground and say, I just don't think we should be a part of each other's lives anymore.
Oh.
And I really care about you, and
And I'm doing that because I care about you.
no, you don't say that.
No, don't say that, but I'm saying that that's why you're doing it.
Yeah.
She's gonna listen to this podcast.
And
She
you know,
will.
you got to be careful about things like, you know, like when you're breaking up with someone, right? Like, I don't think we just can't be together right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what that person heard right now.
Yeah.
You know, and so like when you're trying to communicate with someone of like that, and we do that because it's awkward and it's nervous, and so like we will add these words maybe
So like sugarcoat it.
always, and we don't mean it.
Yeah.
You know, right now means never. You know, And that just sounds too harsh, but like you got to let people think you're the bad guy sometimes so that they can move on. And that's the selfless thing to do, to take it on the chin.
Like that's
what Billie Eilish was trying to teach us.
Maybe in
this
this instance, being a hero is being a villain, you know?
There you go. Back to the comic books.
That's great.
I know.
Yeah. That's my next book, or that's your next book. Being a hero is being a villain.
Yeah.
I've lived long enough.
I'm very interested to know, because anytime we have a question, you're able to pull that bucket up from the well of a water of knowledge, pour it over us. But who filled that well for you the most? Like who put that water in there, you know?
Well, I guess probably my parents to start with. I've always been someone, it started with my parents, and my parents, I think the greatest thing my parents ever taught me is setting the expectation of parenting me. Like they had a lot of rules, probably even too much, but they allowed me to be coached by other people, and I played sports. And so
What was your sport of choice? Just
I ran track in college. That was probably my best sport, but I played every sport.
Yeah. We'll have to play basketball sometime. No worries. Anyway,
I haven't played in a while. You'll smoke me.
No, I haven't torn
but
ACL.
I hustle. I play D.
I haven't torn ACL. We'll be good.
And
Sorry, I had to slip that in there.
no, that's great. And then what were we talking about?
Who filled that well for you?
And so I always sought out mentors, and so I just think I accumulated different things about relationship. I mean, most of my relationship advice came from just my real tough breakups and reading some books and just self-reflective. I used to be super religious, and there were some priests who I had relationships with that taught me some valuable things. By relationships, I mean just normal relationship.
No. I mean,
No, we didn't.
Unfortunately, you have to clarify that these days.
of course. Were you in the Spotlight film? Anyway, keep going.
So I mean, in terms of, and so I've had a lot of great mentors, ex-girlfriends too. Ex-girlfriends taught me a lot, and
Did you?
back to what I was telling you before, someday you'll be appreciative of that person again, not in a way that you will think about them constantly, but like my ex, my buddy who my first girlfriend, I was with him when I met her, right? And so she never crosses my mind, but if you bring her up in conversation, there's this kind of just a fondness of appreciation, and she hurt me a lot during the time, there were a lot of I had some really ugly memories of her breaking my heart, but I have nothing but love for her, and it's so you think of it differently over time, and they taught me they put me through it. And
How long ago was that? Can I ask?
a long time ago, 20 years.
Okay, so
No, I'm sorry, 15 years.
well, no, that just gives me
It gives
remember
you
how you said
perspective of evolution, and that life's
what I'm
not,
saying.
I think in
in
5
the
years,
10 you know
you'll
what I
be
mean?
there.
Yeah,
in
that's what
5.
I'm saying.
Did you ever think you'd be kind of, in the spotlight a little bit, or was that? How did you get
His
into-
wife signed me up.
Oh yeah,
For The
I feel-
Bachelor?
His wife's done a lot for you, huh?
Yeah, seriously.
she has. It's
Was
good
was The
friend.
Bachelor your first taste of anything?
Yeah, I mean before that, I wasn't even. I used to work for a company called Salesforce, sold CRM software. And I really quite liked my job.
Plug. Hope they're doing well.
They're doing well. Go get some CRM. I just I enjoyed it. I guess I enjoyed it as a job.
Yeah.
But it still felt like a job, right? I think we always sometimes when we fantasize is this my greatest life I'm living?
Yeah.
At the time it was, I guess, good enough. And
Because you've been on 5 seasons of The Bachelor.
4.
Well,
Because I currently have a friend doing that.
the first one.
She's currently.
So
filming.
she did.
She's on Zach's.
She did The Bachelorette, or I mean The Bachelor. She did The Bachelor.
She's been on it.
She's been on it.
What's her name?
Brittany.
She's like, that could be anybody. That's all of them.
Brittany Galvin. She did The Bachelor, and now she's doing The Bachelor in Paradise.
No, the reason I've said you've done 5 is because you're the second oldest of 11.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you were just born trying to get your parents' love. And that's basically The Bachelor.
11?
I have 10 siblings, yeah.
Oh wait.
I told you that.
Yeah.
Catch it.
Oh wow, that kind of just slipped through my fucking head.
It's okay.
Yeah. They really liked the Cheaper by the Dozen movie, but they didn't want to commit fully.
Right.
So they only did 11.
It's worthy of being surprised twice.
Yeah.
That really is. I mean, I'm
just cut
from
to
a
a
big family, but
We'll cut this reaction at the beginning so it all makes
cool.
sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm from a big family. Like my dad is 8, but there's something about double digits, man.
I mean, that's a football team.
Yeah.
Mostly guys or mostly girls?
6 girls, 5 boys. So,
Oh, okay. Basketball. I mean, they got a 6-man on the girls team. You guys could play full pickup with it in case someone's injured. You got a reserve.
my sister played. My sister played professional basketball in Europe.
Oh wow,
Yeah, she's 6'3".
Holy shit.
She's my height.
Are you all tall?
My dad's 5'8". It's kind of funny.
Whoa, how tall's your mom?
5'9".
all right. Did
For a woman, that's pretty. It's
No,
above
that's
average.
tall for a woman, but it's just like, I mean, where
No,
did
but it's weird.
kids
And
they were popping
I'm
out.
6'2". I have a brother who's 6'4".
and you look like your dad, right?
I have a brother 6'3". Yeah, we have
Okay,
similar
okay.
so
features.
6'3", 6'3", 6'4", 6'3"? Like, how did?
I just would. I don't know. Maybe we just.
I have a couple. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll bring your mom on the
My
podcast.
mom
Ask her some
my
questions.
mom has the Donovan gene. I look enough like my dad.
okay,
It's
okay, good.
Yeah.
We're just putting it. Okay. No, we believe it.
Isn't that crazy though? Why we
Yeah.
most often look like our fathers?
I look like my dad. Actually, I look like a 50-50 split.
Oh, wait, were you about to drop some?
Well, it's like it's evolution's way of
Is it
like
the pungent
knowing.
square?
It's like evolution's way of letting the guy know it's his.
Oh yeah,
what?
yeah.
That really?
Yeah.
I don't think my dad wanted to know. He's like, dang it.
Oh.
Yep, that one's mine.
And you do look like your dad.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, I'm
Actually, fortunately, he's a good-looking
like,
guy.
I could be.
You don't like your face?
No. I've never really liked it.
It's a good face.
He's got a great face.
His
I was
asshole.
I was baiting for that. Thank you so much. Okay. Any advice on? This is trivial, but I guess a lot of people do seek love, and they go through the dating apps, and that just becomes another scrolling thing. And I guess, how do you find yourself in a place where you kind of just have to let it come naturally, or is it okay to seek it out?
Oh, I think it's totally great. It's great to seek it out.
Yeah.
You know, but you also have to know when to take breaks. Like dating can be fun, but it's also like a fucking grind.
Yeah.
Just like working out can be fun, but
Yeah.
you like also can be a grind. And just like working out, you know, you need to take breaks because eventually, like law of diminishing return, you just need to like fucking just rest a little bit so things can like you can build that back up. And so, so knowing when, like if you're actively dating, just know when to take breaks. If you feel fatigued and tired, take a fucking break. You know, you just got to remind yourself that you're only looking for one. And we're told that once we graduate high school, we're supposed to like find love. And we're told that if we don't, we're less than. And nowadays we don't know anything about ourselves at 18, 19, 20. Fuck. You know, I don't really feel like I really understood myself until I was 28. You know, that's me. Everyone's different, but it's really hard to find out who you're supposed to the rest of your life with.
Yeah.
Before
That's
you know
a long
yourself.
time.
Yeah, just remember when you're thinking about dating and you're and you're single and you're having a hard time finding someone, just remember the rest of your life is a long time. And that is the goal, unless you enjoy heartbreak or awkward conversations. You know, like your goal when you meet someone is to like be with them the rest of your life.
Whoa,
and you're
that
only
is you're hammering that word.
looking for one. And so just take it easy on yourself because and then remind yourself you're only looking for one. And so it's not a popularity contest. It's not to see how many people you can get to like want to date you.
'Cause I think from the book that you referenced before, Not to Die Alone, How Not to Die Alone.
Yeah.
He talks about the prom queen, you know, and that's somebody that you just kind of have, like they look good on your arm almost, or like they check all the boxes of what somebody should be, but do they actually make you feel the way that you want to be felt, or they just look good to other people? I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Oh, 100%. My fiance who cheated on me, my second girlfriend, I loved the way we looked together.
Yeah.
And that was the catalyst for our entire relationship.
Yeah.
You know, it's embarrassing to admit, but yeah, when you really think about it, because I was like, we have nothing in common.
Are you are you currently married or fiance or?
I have a girlfriend.
Girlfriend. Okay. What? I don't know. I feel like you've gone all those relationships to this point. What about your current relationship kind of maybe check those boxes, or what did you find in that was really securing?
Well, we communicate very well. We're quick to check in with each other. And she is very confident and secure with herself, and she very much communicates what she wants, which I find attractive. You know, she she doesn't kind of passively aggressively, be like, so what do you want?
Yeah.
But I know not what. She just tells me what she wants. And then if things change in our relationship, we are pretty good at addressing it. And I think that's something I haven't had as much in other relationships.
So if she'll bring up something maybe she's not happy with in the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you exile your ego from that?
Well, it's really how you communicate that too, because it's hard to, you're in a relationship, and just because you feel something doesn't necessarily make it true.
Yeah.
We're entitled to our feelings, and we're allowed to feel however we want. But
I think it's the same thing with jokes and comedy.
Yeah.
You don't have to subscribe to that. Like, you're allowed to feel how you're going to feel, but I'm allowed to like still have that joke or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or
Anyway.
especially in relationships,
Yeah.
like if you care enough, you have to prioritize your partner's feelings, but they have to prioritize yours. And so when we feel something, we can't just say, I feel this way, therefore I'm right. It's just, we have to communicate that feeling. So instead of being like, we never talk enough anymore.
Yeah.
It's more like, hey, I'm feeling, and a great way to disarm your partner is to just first address what's really going on here is that you're feeling insecure about something. And so instead of being like, we never do this, we never do that, you never do this, you always do that, you just say, I'm feeling insecure about this. It's my feeling. I don't know if it's something I need to work on or you, but I'd love to talk with you about that.
I think it's healthy to eliminate absolutes in a lot of parts of your life, especially your relationship, of this is the way it is, rather than I like the way that you describe of, because it is just that feeling. And it's getting them to know why you feel that way. I think that's when you actually make some progress, because the biggest part of a relationship is, I think, having a partner, and the more often you can not put them on the defense, I think it's better, because then that's when I think it becomes a battle. It's an argument where it's two sides rather than,
Totally. Yeah. And that's just, they're honestly just communication tactics, because also too, like and people listening to this might be like, well, actually people, when I'm in a fight, they'll accuse me of being like, well, you're just insecure. And so like, even when you name something up front, you're like, you're taking away their ability to weaponize that against you. It's like, I am feeling insecure, and I want to have a conversation with you about it for us together, because, I'm assuming this is a priority for you of me not feeling this way. And let's talk about why I'm feeling this way and figure out whether it's something like, my guess is it's probably something we're both playing a role in.
Yeah.
Maybe you're doing something that's making me feel this way, but maybe I'm snowballing it by like, getting more toxic thoughts. And so maybe it's something we can work on together. That's this conversation, but oftentimes we accuse.
To your gullible statement of a lot of people, they do jump to that. Oh, this is how it is. This is how I'm feeling. Or this is the way it is. And I know it's negative because I've already built that narrative in my mind, rather than this is how I feel, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm going to trust that your intentions are better than they are. And I think that's a much healthier place to come at in a relationship, at least from what you've been saying.
Yeah. And then again, and even in that situation, if let's say you're being this super nice, understanding, communicative person with someone who's cheating on you, well, you are setting them up to like have a conversation and not get defensive. You haven't triggered any alarms yet. And that way you can ask more questions and you can listen to their responses, especially if you're willing to like hear the hard truths. Because like, I mean, if me, like when his wife, my friend, like told me she was cheating on me, I did not want to believe her. She actually immediately became the enemy in my mind, right? So instead of like, and I went to my then, fiance at the time and be like, well, I heard this, it's like, I said, are you doing this? But I wanted to believe that her. And so, and while you want to trust your partner, what I wasn't willing to do is to ask some qualifying questions. Be like, well, I have some questions, X, Y, and Z. This isn't making sense. And then paying attention whether she got defensive and or accusatory or just like talked through them with me. And so
you went on these shows that are surrounded by love, could be artificial, could be real, whatever it is. The Bachelor. How, from like a business standpoint, I was really interested because you said you have that business mind. How did you change those opportunities into this opportunity now of like, this is what I do for advice and this is what I do for love or whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, it was, going on The Bachelor gives you a platform, or it can, and it did for me.
Were you going, I should rephrase it, were you going in with any kind of strategy? It's like,
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's different now because when I first went on, social media existed for sure. I mean, Instagram, it was all there.
What year was that?
2014.
Okay.
But it wasn't what it is now, right? And people weren't monetizing it the way they were now. And so I just kind of went on because I was like, I've never been to Europe.
Why not?
I've never, I went to casting because I'd never been to LA at the time. So I was like, that must be cool. But after I went on, then I had, I kind of had this platform, and I thought to myself, well, I certainly want to see if I can do something with it. I was fortunate enough that the people I worked for at Salesforce were very supportive of me taking risks and prioritizing, myself. They kind of took the approach, hey, listen, we're a growing company. We're constantly hiring good salespeople. We know you're good at sales. So like, if you come back, you'll come back. So why don't you go ahead and try this thing out here? And so from that point on, once I was given that opportunity, then I kind of tried to figure out how I could do something with the opportunity. And I think the kind of epiphany I suppose I had, or the outlook I had, that I think really I would attribute most of my success to, is the recognition that going on The Bachelor specifically, what it does is it gives you incredible access, but it doesn't give you any credibility. And it's important to know. It was important for me to understand the difference.
Yeah.
It was important to understand why I was getting into certain rooms. And it wasn't because I was their equal. And maybe in some rooms they could be judging me, or in other rooms, they could just be fascinated by me, but they weren't necessarily wanting to work with me or doing certain things. But I was in the room, and I had the opportunity then to earn their respect from that access given to me. I just didn't assume I had their respect. And that allowed me to, meet people and ask questions and ask for advice. I didn't ask for favors, and things like that. I didn't assume I was deserving of something just because I was, The Bachelor or things like that. And I think that mindset has allowed me to continue to open more doors and take advantage of the doors that have been opened.
Yeah. Are there any doors that you want to open? Is there like a North Star that you're going towards? Like, I think your gift is definitely this advice and helping people without relationships. I cannot wait to read this book just from this talk we've had today. But is that your continuation, you think, of this path of like being a literary, expert in this space?
My podcast, The Viall Files, that's my passion. And I'd say like all of it talks about relationships in general, but it's a mix of relationships and pop culture, and a third of it is this kind of very specific advice stuff, and which I really do enjoy. I don't, I'm not an expert. I didn't study this stuff. I do have, I guess a gift for it, but I know what I'm good at, and I don't speak on things like, I don't talk about attachment styles, and I don't diagnose like gaslighting because I'm not a fucking therapist, and and quite frankly, that's a whole nother conversation, but, I just, and that's why a lot of what I talked about was very basic even today. It's like, it's a lot of ego conversations, but it's just it's the understanding of our choices that are really hard. I always say simple in theory, hard in practice. And so I really enjoy that, but building out my show, like I really like the podcast space. I love the entertainment space, and I, want to, grow in the audio space is something I like. Also, I do some hosting, and I've been studying acting since I've been out in LA, which is more of like a passion and hobby for me. And I feel fortunate enough to, I don't have to survive on getting acting work, so I can do it at my leisure and study that. And so I just want to grow, build. I want to just keep growing is my goal. But I also want to be flexible to like what opportunities might bring. Yeah.
Any guess that you're really like, that would just be?
Harry Styles is always and has been the dream.
Yeah.
Always.
I had a moment with Harry Styles that really was a catalyst for that. I'm 99.9% sure we locked eyes and he checked me out while I was running.
That's all you need. All you need is that open door.
And I know, and I know that I think this rather because, and I joke because like up until this point, I wasn't a One Direction fan, and I wasn't even that big of a Harry Styles fan. I mean, from afar, I was like, yeah, it seems like a cool fucking dude, but like whatevs. And then I went to Coachella this year, and Harry Styles performed, and I was truly blown away. I mean, just magnificent performance. Like what an absolutely charismatic dream. I mean, it was really, I was just like taken away. I was just like, this guy's so fucking cool.
So cool.
I felt
And
that
so
from
cool.
his first audition. Like, I didn't even think he was as good of a singer as he is now in his first audition.
He was so charismatic.
I was like, I almost would have maybe passed.
So incredibly charismatic.
But now he's one of the best singers.
He's a beautiful singer, but he's just such a good performer. It's just like Anyway, that reminded me of a time that about a year and a half prior to that, when I just, I actually, we're neighbors, by the way.
You and Harry Styles?
No, well, I live 5 minutes from here.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah.
It's so funny. Everyone we've had on the podcast lives like down the street.
But I was running in this neighborhood, and I was at the end of my run, and my gait was strong, and I was sweaty and tired, running with my shirt off, and so I wasn't totally paying attention.
Yeah.
But I was running this way, and a car pulled up to a stop sign, and it was like off of Colfax, so like Colfax.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a busy street, and then I was running on that street, and he pulled off. This car pulled in from the neighborhood, and I noticed them noticing me.
Yeah.
But I'm running and I'm like tired, so I'm not really paying attention, but I locked eyes, and then I remember still running, and I thought to myself, is that fucking Harry Styles? Like,
in our neighborhood.
what is it like to live my dream?
But hold on. But I wasn't like, I still was like, I'm not totally sure if that was Harry Styles, but I was like curious enough that I did DM him. I was like, I'm 50% that sure that was Harry Styles. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna DM the guy, and like I DM'd him because he looked at me like he knew me, like he was like.
You'd probably be watching The Bachelor.
I think he does.
Everyone watches The Bachelor. My mom's dying that you're here.
So I DM'd him. I was like, hey man, I don't know if that, like, I'm like, were you the guy just like saw I was running? If so, big fan, whatever. Never responded. But then after seeing Harry at Coachella, I was reminded of this. And so then I went on my podcast and I talked about my Harry Styles like moment at Coachella. And then I told this very story. And someone from my audience sent me a photo that same week that I told this story. Harry was photographed in this same black convertible Mercedes, because I was like, he was driving this old school like convertible or black Mercedes. I don't know if
sounds
it's convertible.
like Harry.
And I was like, and I saw the picture. I was like, that's the fucking guy. Like
that's him.
And you're like, that's him.
So it had to have been Harry Styles.
Wow.
Damn, you're telling me Harry's just driving around North Hollywood?
100%. Yeah. He's just.
What's it like to
I gotta
live?
start going on more
Dude,
runs.
we got to take our shirts off and go running right now.
What's it like to live billions of girls' dreams?
I know, it's great.
And
But the
guys.
reason why I want him on is because, like, here's what I noticed about Harry Styles is that, most of my audience are women on my show. I'd love it if guys tapped into more of like this type of content, and truly, if you do, like, life gets a little easier, because again, this is not like everything we talked about today. It's not like girl talk. It's understanding yourself.
It's people talk.
It's things that guys are almost sheltered from without even realizing it.
But what I noticed is that Harry he's so good at connecting with his primarily like woman audience. And so I felt a bit I was like just impressed by him. And I think Harry seems to be an incredibly empathetic guy. He talks about like dating on a show, and I have one of my shows is like giving dating and relationship advice, and I think it'd be fucking awesome if Harry and I could take some calls and give some dating advice. I think he'd be really quite good at it.
No, I do too.
I had Justin Long on once, who if you're familiar with
Justin
him,
Long?
he's the lead, and he's just not that into you.
Yeah.
So, and he's actually quite good at it. Really good at giving advice.
Same guy from Dodgeball, right?
Same guy from Dodgeball.
Okay,
yeah.
wait, did you see?
Very smart, very empathetic, very good at giving advice.
Did you see the movie? I don't know if it came out or it was about to come out. Another Justin Long movie. Like, that's the title, and it's just Justin Long in a. I want to see it so bad.
I'm going to put this out there. If you need a mic stand or a tripod or anything, I will be that person.
She's like, or a wiener holder for him.
If he comes, I'll let you know. But I feel like if I get this opportunity, which I'm not banking on it, but it's the goal. Also feel like
Anything you need, I'm there.
It's
Okay.
called Justin Long's
Feed
new
you grapes,
movie.
I'm there.
That's a
his
hilarious
new
title.
movie?
That's his title.
What's it called?
Justin Long's new movie.
I saw the trailer. It looked good. And then honestly, who I think would also be great at that is Post Malone. I think he
would be too.
he's very empathetic and very
Yeah.
well thought out.
I think we tried to get him on once.
But whatever happens.
I believe that Harry Styles will come on my podcast, and I'm
Good.
gonna manifest
Hell yeah,
that.
manifest that
I
right
believe
here.
it's gonna happen.
Let's burn some sage.
He's also a Packer fan. I'm a huge Packer fan. We have a lot in common.
Why is he a Packer fan?
I'm not sure. I think maybe it was like on in London or something, but he is a Packer fan.
He won the battle the other day with Tommy Boy. But yeah, get into the Packers played Tampa Bay. Have you started seeing they're doing Thursday Night Football? He's going tonight at AMC theaters, so you can like go watch with like a bunch of people at like a movie theater.
Really?
I thought that was a great idea too.
It is cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have a giant projector in my backyard. It has 4K and like.
Okay, so
Okay, so I'll go fuck myself.
So when can we? When can we?
Oh
come
yeah, you guys
over?
should come over for a game.
That'd be a lot of
sick.
fun.
Let's do it tonight. I can fucking sell my
Well,
ticket.
unfortunately, we have to wait till like a November because like projector only works
yeah.
when it's dark out.
Wow,
And
that's
so
right.
like
It's still
halftime, I'll put on the game.
I was
Yeah.
just excited because my Bengals are playing.
Do you think they're
tonight
gonna win?
against the Dolphins? I hope
Dolphins
so.
are hot right now.
I
Oh,
know.
Joe Burrow is my quarterback on one of my fantasy football leagues, but
Yeah, so you better hope they do well.
I do. I like the Bengals.
Do you like college football at all?
I like sports. Period.
I-
but I'm definitely more of an NFL guy.
I'm
Than
more of a college guy.
Big college people.
Wait,
guys
you
from the
watch
South.
NBA?
I'm Bucks.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do this year.
Well, no, we got questions from the audience.
We'll do
Let's
rapid
be-
fire ones. He's
yeah,
got to get
let's
out
be
of here.
really-
This person says, I want to be in a relationship, but I'm not in a good place mentally or physically. What should I do?
You should prioritize your mental health
And
and focus and prioritize yourself and be your best self, whatever that is.
yeah.
Because you can't be your best self, you're not going to be a good partner to someone else.
Do you
And
believe
so-
in the short sentiment you can't love somebody else without loving yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Perfect. There you go. You can't.
Because then you're if you don't love yourself, then you're going to be asking your partner of too much. Then your reason for being in the relationship is to make you feel whole, and that's not what a partner is there for. They're there to like, it's not to fill that hole. You got to fill it for yourself. And so yeah, it's great that you want a relationship. Let that be your goal, and use it as motivation to prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical health, and investing yourself and investing your friends and your time. And that's what people never take advantage of being single. They're always wishing,
true.
they're always trying to get out of that state of mind. But like, it's great to, like when I stopped stressing about not being in a relationship or feeling less than I was in a relationship, and I broke up with my last girlfriend, it's just because we weren't compatible, and I was sad that it ended. I was single for a long time, and I moved to a different city. I got a much better job. I took risks by accepting this crazy opportunity to go on The Bachelor. Then I took another risk by moving, and I just kept investing in myself and prioritizing that. And had I been in a relationship, a lot of this might not have happened.
This is very cheesy, but there's this guy I like to listen to. He goes, "Don't invest in S&P, invest in SME." Like it's just like it's finding mentors, and it's like rather than putting money into this, it's like putting money in the mentors and in like business people. Yeah. Anyway,
truly, like, people don't have that mindset enough to like, to invest in yourself. How is this making me better? What's my return on investment on this, me doing whatever this is, investing of my time? And then and your equity is your energy. You should think about that. People are always talking about like thinking about not giving away their power.
Yeah.
And then they don't think, and then I was like, well, what does that mean? It sounds like, like I'm not giving, like power is energy, and just like energy is a car. And so when your equity is your energy, and what I mean by that is just like, well, our energy, our time is not infinite. We wake up, we have limited time, we have limited energy to give. And what am I giving back? What am I getting in return of this energy, whether in the short term or long term? You can think of that in relationships too. People are often like, again, giving more than 100% of their half, so much energy to someone, some fuckboy, some situationship, or they're just like give, and the person's just like, yeah. You might know a little bit about that, and so that's that energy that just depletes you. You're not getting anything back. It needs to be kind of a mixed thing. And if you want to make investments of your energy and time, and think about what am I going to get back?
I mean, back to like the comic book like nerdiness talk.
Somebody that doesn't like Marvel, you're making a lot of references.
Well, no, this isn't Marvel. This is more just like this is a video game reference of you're a character kind of collecting skills, and it's like if you have an opportunity and some free time to pull up the XP on a certain things of relationships or your knowledge in business or whatever it is, it's that's where you're investing in yourself. A lot of people don't see that you're just like wielding a toolbox, like you're the character of your own life, and stitch that on a stupid pillow. I don't know why I just said that, but yeah,
it is true. We're so many of us, we all have wasted our energy. Right? We've wasted our time, we've wasted our energy, and like we will freak out if we lose $20, But we will be so willing to just burn energy and our time, and that's more valuable than anything.
That makes sense than any $20. Next question. What should I do? I like two people at the same time and don't know how to choose.
Maybe you don't like either of them enough,
Oh,
Ooh.
Going down a road I did not think you'd go.
Well, that's the short answer.
Yeah, the long answer is flip a coin.
That I would spend more time. A longer answer, I'd spend more time thinking about what your non-negotiables and pet peeves are, and what you really need out of a relationship, and what your boundaries are, and then communicate those boundaries that you have for yourself and the relationships that you want. Communicate those to those people through telling them your expectations, and see which one of them respects them more.
Yeah. I think also going back to what you were saying about like you can like all these things about a person, but it's like how does each individual actually make you feel?
Yeah.
Like, because one might be really pretty and funny and whatever, but the other one like understands you on a deeper, more emotional.
So there you go. See, he's already,
dude, he's learning.
You came up with an answer based on what I said earlier, that I would be like, that's a better answer than what I just gave.
I've honestly learned a lot. Like my brain I've been really like kind of quiet because my brain has been churning this entire.
I've also been doing the same thing. I'm really trying to pay attention here.
But you're right. Yeah, I would ask. Let's go ask them how they're making you feel. Is one person making you feel validated, or the other person maybe making you feel safe and secure and loved? And maybe that second person might be your person.
So I'll tie this into another question we had prepared. They just wrote, so I like this boy, but he's an asshole to me. What do I do? But we were often wondering why we tend to go for people that
Hurt
are
us.
like,
We love the hurt.
Yeah, that are assholes.
Egos.
Ego.
Valid. Because if this person who treated everyone else like shit, treated me like a queen, then I'm fucking special.
Fuck, that makes so much sense. That answer
the same thing
a
as
lifelong question I've had.
You're
Dude,
going
it's
to
the
see
same
Jared
thing.
on
It
your
was like,
doorstep.
you don't know what he's like behind closed doors. Like he's actually really sweet behind closed doors. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's like be like, you fuckers, they're shitty to you because you're shitty.
Yeah,
They're special to me because I'm special.
Damn.
Makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. This person, my best friend started dating my ex behind my back and lied to my face about it. What should I do?
Read that one more time. I always get confused when it's like my cousin's best friend's boyfriend.
Okay. My best friend started dating my ex behind my back and then lied to him about it.
I mean,
listen, I don't know how old this person is, but I'm gonna guess they're younger.
Oh, our audience is generally younger. Yeah.
Actually, 20 only.
I would say the vocal part of our audience is generally
because only
younger.
6% is like below 18.
Yeah.
My guess is this person had an expectation or a boundary for themselves. Is an assumed boundary that probably wasn't communicated with the friend.
Yeah.
Do you think that needs to be communicated?
For some people,
sure.
To not date your ex?
Well, because
sounds like it needed to be.
You know what they say about assume.
It makes an ass out of you and me.
I mean, listen, it depends on your circles. I mean, listen, like non-traditional relationships exist. Everyone's different with their expectations. Yes, I mean, I generally agree with you that it definitely that friend should check that your friend's mistake was not going to you and not telling you, and that's what clearly the friend is doing something wrong, and it's probably, my guess is, the person who writing in is like, it's not only are they doing it, but like they didn't go up to him and say, this is really awkward and I'm sorry, but like I just feel like I'm connecting with whatever the fuck. And how do you feel about that? Because it's hard and uncomfortable, and there's a risk and there's fear of, I didn't want to tell you because I thought you'd be mad, bullshit and stuff like that. And so, but yeah, that all being said, what should you do about it? Like if you care about this friendship, go to the friend and say, more than anything, it hurt my feelings that you didn't just come to talk to me. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have been upset about that either. I have the right to be upset. That's like, you don't get to tell me I didn't get to, like, you not telling me, like, I don't have to promise you I'm not gonna be upset for you to be honest with me. Like, that's not the price of your honesty.
Yeah. Wow, that's so true.
But it still hurts my feelings. You didn't go to me first, and I would communicate that first. And as far as do you really care? Like, what is it to you? Like, I mean, again, and it might care. I don't know. Like, did you date them for like 3 weeks? Did you date them for 3 years? Like,
there's a lot of factors that
can
we
vary.
Don't know in this question. That
and how much of your ego is playing a role of, like, they're choosing your friend over you. And, like, listen, like, that might just be too hard to get over. Like, I have a fucking ego, and if, like, I might know, like, this is my fucking ego talking, but, like, either way, I'm not getting over this one. It might just be too hard. So. There's a lot of variables, but more than anything, just communicate with your friend and see if you can salvage the friendship through saying, like, I don't want this type of friendship where when difficult situations come up, like, we just avoid it and hope the other person doesn't find out.
Because just like relationships, friendships are a form of relationship that need communication
100%.
just as much.
Yeah, it's the same. It's literally the same. You're just not fucking.
And then last question. Do you find the phrase, if they like you, you'll know. If they don't like you, you'll be confused?
Generally, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's pretty simple.
I would say the only caveat to that is, like, sometimes it takes a few dates to figure out whether you're interested in someone, and not everyone's going to be blown away on the first date. And we are dating in a world where we have so many apps and so many options that sometimes, you have to let people know you like them.
You have to be very blunt.
Do you believe in the second date rule?
What's that?
It's just basically everyone can be a little weird on the first date.
Yeah.
You always give them that second date, even if it went kind of bad.
Sure. What I believe is everyone's been someone's bad date.
Yeah.
We've all not been ourselves. It's not meant to make you feel self-conscious. We could be fatigued from going on too many dates. You had a bad day. You're not present. You're thinking about something else. And all of a sudden the person's being like, they're not even paying attention to me.
Exactly.
You don't even realize that you're the bad date. Just like you weren't into it, whatever it is. And so, dating is hard. And I absolutely agree, which is why I think first and second date should be super simple, relatively cheap, super, like, not... Your job is not to impress someone and get them to like you. Your job is to get to know them.
Definitely. I like that a lot. Where can people find this book?
Go to viallfiles.com, VIALLFILES.com, and there's links to Amazon and bookshop.org and Barnes and Noble, and there's an audiobook as well.
All that's going to be in the description and on the screen.
If you're dyslexic like me.
How'd you write a book if you're dyslexic? That's okay. That's something we didn't cover.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a writer. I don't know where commas go. And I told that to my editor. But the good news about writing a book is you just have to be able to put words on a piece of paper and power through, like, not having ideas. And it was really hard. I mean, there was definitely a part that I had an actual conscious thought of, like, maybe I'll just give the money back.
When did you start it?
Beginning of the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, it took a while.
And
I dragged my feet for the first 8-9 months because I didn't really know what I was writing. I was just like writing. I was like, situationships. So let's start writing stuff. And then I was like, I don't know if this is a book. But my editor, they helped me, like, organize it and outline it, and they really put the book together. And then once we had a very rough draft, then it became more fun and easy because I was like, oh, I'm missing this. I could add that. I saw the vision, so I had to have the vision.
I'm more like screenplays and things like that, but I just commend you for even, like, finishing it and putting it out. Any tips you have for writers of just kind of, just doing the thing?
Well, that's the advice I got, and I just pass it along, which is, like, just literally just write, not judge your writing, because that's what gave me writer's block, is, like, as I was writing, like, trying to come up with the wittiest and most clever thing right away. Just if you have an idea, because I would do is I'd have this idea, and then I would sit down and be like, fuck,
yeah,
because I was, like, trying to communicate the idea in like a great
Yeah, something I try to do is I sit down and I'll do it for an hour even, but I'll sit down maybe a timer for 30 minutes and I'm not allowed to stop typing. It could be gibberish. It could be whatever.
I think that's a great.
But eventually, you're going to come to an idea or something, a sentence that can lead to a longer sentence that leads to a page. You know,
I think it's a great writing exercise. So like, I didn't go to that length, but yes, I just powered through the like I don't know what to fucking write, but I just kept writing things and did more of that. And then once I got to that first very rough draft, then I saw the vision and then I could fill in the whole like. Then I saw the goal because it's hard. The hardest part for me starting the book, like I didn't have a story in my mind or anything. That it was just like they were like, write a book about dating, you know? Because I had all these like Q&As because I came to them and pitched them essentially a coffee table book, which is like I have all these like Q&As I've been like doing for years, and I just like have them. So how about here you go, format it and make it pretty and like it'll be like one of those like things they sell at like Urban Outfitters and shit like that. But then they asked me to write the book, and I finally I reluctantly agreed. But I didn't have like a plan, so I didn't know where I was going, and so I was just like, all right. Yeah. But once I had that plan, and once I saw the outline, it actually not only became easier, but it became fun. I wish I would. If I had regret, I wish I'd have powered through more. And got to that first stage faster because I was like submitting pages and like past the we need to put this book together type of thing because it became like then I was like it was like really flowing, but the start was fucking brutal.
What was that feeling like that first copy in your hand? Like this is the book, I've got a book.
That was pretty cool, because at first they send you the digital copy first, and like I'm dyslexic. I'm not a big reader, but I guess narcissistically, I've read my book a few times because it's part probably narcissism and then part imposter syndrome of being like, worrying about like the stuff in the book, being like it's not fucking groundbreaking shit, like it's conceptualizing simple things. And so I was always self-conscious being like, this is going to be stupid. So I'd go back and read and be like, nah, I think it's okay.
I actually like it.
And so I did that a lot. But like, so reading the digital, like completed book was cool, but like actually holding it was definitely,
I think it'd be cool for one day you go back to get your own advice. It's like, oh, thanks, Nick. And then,
I mean, truly, I wrote the book with that in mind, not necessarily giving myself advice, but like, it's certainly meant to be read through from beginning to end. But at the same time, I also wrote it like to be used as a guide to like refer back to to refer to again. Like you're out there dating again, and maybe you find yourself like, am I in a fucking situationship again? And or dealing with fuckboys and players, or if you're like, there's literally a whole chapter about deciding whether you want to move in with a significant other, and there's always takeaways whether you can relate to that specific experience or not. Like there's nuggets you can pull from it. But I wrote it with that idea in mind, like truly that if I if I'm in a relationship now, but let's say she fucking cheated on me tomorrow, or let's say we're having a problem, I wrote it so that I could go back and remind myself of certain things. It's hard to take our own advice sometimes too, and again, like simple in theory, hard in practice. Like these ideas are simple, but we have to constantly remind ourselves of those, like, oh yeah, that's right. Fuck, I'm being an ass again, or I'm not listening to myself. I lied to myself again. It's so hard to do.
I think I signed up for something. It's good. Goodreads, maybe. I don't know what it's called. Readwise. I don't know what it's called. But if you have, there's a Kindle version, I assume.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So like what I like to do, like even with this book or the other book that we were talking about, it's like this isn't a plug at all, but it's an email service where you highlight things you really want to remember. And then every day it sends you like 5 highlights from the book. So you're just constantly reminded of.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. Yeah. I have no equity in this one, but no.
That is a good idea.
Yeah. It was cool.
So it's meant to be like that and so literally I think, so not only it's just like a book you read, but definitely great for a friend who's like going through it, especially if you're a friend who just won't, like your friends in the past should have bought you.
The title's also funny enough where you can give it to someone and it doesn't look like I don't know, you're not calling them out for an intervention, if that makes sense.
Yeah, How to Not Die Alone.
Yeah.
That's an intense book. Zach was like, you should read this, and I was like, what the fuck?
Why should I read it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great title.
Yeah, it's a great title.
But yeah, I wanted it to be a little. The shit's hard, and
You got a little bit of a sad boy
and
mic.
not be
Yeah, there you go.
and not be judgmental. But yeah, I thought it would be relatable, but also playful because this shit's hard, and we have to be able to laugh ourselves for our mistakes that we make when it comes to this type of shit.
I can't wait to start reading this. I think I should have read it yesterday.
I'd love to know. Can I ask you a favor? If you read it and I'm gonna. If you like it, but whatever you think of it, good or bad. If you want to do like a TikTok live with me,
I would love
that'd
that.
be great.
I would love that.
Okay.
I will definitely.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That means you have to finish it now.
I will.
All right.
Perfect.
I can probably finish it. How many pages is it?
It's 200. It's
It's
not even.
short.
It's not even. It's an easy fucking read.
Okay, great.
Half of them are those like some of them are Q&As. I'd say it's a good like 170 of solid pages.
Yeah.
But
I'm more like I'm recently getting myself back into the reading because I used to love it and then I just stopped for years and now I'm like regaining a love for it. So when I really get into a book, I can finish it in a couple days. So I'm very excited.
All right,
I would love
I'm
to do a
excited too.
TikTok live and discuss it. And as somebody that desperately needs the advice on things like this, I'm interested to see. I'm going to write my perspective on a few things beforehand and then how that's changed after.
I love that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. You guys have a great show, by the way. You're very, you're
thank
very
you.
good at this.
You're a fantastic guest.
Oh no, the best part.
You guys
is,
are great hosts.
The best part is you have a podcast, so
You know how to
Yeah.
talk.
you know how to
Yeah.
talk. And,
No,
like,
it's nice to work with professionals.
sometimes you bring up there. So you went through the situation. They're like, yeah,
I did.
and then you're like,
Where you're like, okay, well,
how was it? Bad. Okay.
I don't really want to talk. About
Yeah. Yeah.
cool.
Well, cool. Let's stop annoying him with our love life questions and get you. I guess you can't go anywhere, but thank you so much for coming
Thanks
on.
for having me.
And we have all the links in the description for his book. I really highly recommend it from what I've read, and excited for you to come
and from
on.
what I've heard in person of you, I would definitely start to recommend the book. We haven't even read it, but like just based on the hour and a half, 2 hours of advice we've gotten, a lot of my perspectives have already been changed. So
No, I appreciate it, guys.
I think you. I candidly, I haven't seen The Bachelor, but I think you're a great person regardless.
What?
And,
Never?
I don't care.
You know what? I think you would really like it.
You'd
Well,
like it.
I only watch your season.
You would reluctantly like it because you
Yeah.
wouldn't like it, but you would have an
not-
opinion. And that
That's the thing. I'd be watching this show and I'm like, what the? There's no way. There's like it's wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Well, it's cool. It was also cool to just break you down without knowing all that and relate to you on this level because we've met just at parties and I knew you just as like the guy I met at parties and it was cool we have a lot of like the same thoughts on certain things, so that was really cool. And we're gonna be hitting you up for that projection. Don't think we're not.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd love to show you guys. I love showing off my projector.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be so cool.
And then Jared, I'd love for you to shoot that shot.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay.
well,
and what-
Because the worst thing that can happen is she doesn't like you and
Yeah, I
you'll
know.
be fine. But at least you fucking tried, dude.
That's
Yeah.
true.
and that's a story for a podcast, and that's what we do.
And you know
That's
what?
what we
And
do.
you know what? Here's also like for all the guys out there. This is specifically for the guys because guys don't handle rejection very well. You just got to reframe how you see rejection, and then here and rejection is also an opportunity. So let's say you shoot your shot with this person, and I know this person, right? And I know that you and this person hang out in like similar social circles. And my guess is maybe if you were like worrying about your fears of shooting your shot, your fear is like, well, if it doesn't go the way I want, I'm not going to be able to show my face, you know, at a party here and there and blah, 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 blah. And so what I would disagree with that logic, and you have to seize an opportunity because again, whether someone likes you or not, nothing is more attractive than confidence and for both genders. And I know from hearing and talking to a lot of women, they're particularly fond of confident people. And so if you got rejected by this person, she's like gives you the, oh, you know, I just like you as a friend and blah, blah, blah. And you like really worked on your ability to be chill as fuck and still fun and still cool around her. And the next time you see her, she's going to be worried about like, oh, this is the guy who like asked me out and he's going to be weird around me. And then not being weird around her and like not making her feel like she did anything wrong and to be super, and then like just be like totally confident about it. Like she's going to be like, I just rejected that guy and I expect him to be fucking weird and awkward and he's just been like fucking cool around me. She will find that attractive. I'm not saying it's going to make her want to fuck you, but I'm just saying she's going to see that as an attractive quality, and it's going to make her curious, and it's going to surprise her. And that surprises people when they handle a rejection really well. So you have nothing to lose because you have the opportunity to, at a minimum, surprise somebody.
And here's
again, brain churning.
I love
right
a
now.
good dumb analogy, and I love hitting them with you, hitting them at you. But okay, so when we buy something for the business, as long as we go tax write off, it's kind of
You immediately go for
So
it.
I think sometimes.
Speaking of which, what the hell's the
Hold on one second. I think you need to go for like a human emotional write off. It's like, this is gonna maybe make me a better person or make me learn something. So that's an emotional write off for you, where you don't have to put as much weight into it because it technically doesn't cost as much. You know what I mean?
Oh, good,
Just something to
good
think about.
analogy. Okay.
Just assume she's not going to like you.
Yeah.
Just say hi. What's the difference?
He's like, that's what I already assumed.
I know. I already.
He's like, trust me, I think I know it.
You
We can speak in absolutes about that.
She probably will turn you down.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it's about learning and
But
growing.
you have an opportunity to surprise her and surprise
Exactly.
yourself.
And you've got a podcast, and that's all it's.
That's
you
all
just
that
need
matters.
stories.
Yeah. I got a
just need to
plan.
live life a little.
Exactly. Well, cool. Did we already say Instagram and
I did.
all that? Oh no, I was
That's-
going to ask him where his was.
My bit.
That's her job.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for this week's episode of Dropouts. If you guys want any more sound advice, make sure to go check out his new book, Don't Text Your Ex. Happy birthday, dear Alyssa. Where can you find all your bits and bobs?
Nick Viall on Instagram and TikTok.
Nice.
I mean, I have
Lovely.
Twitter too, but it's different. It's too long. And yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Indiana. That's Zach Justice. That's
Allegedly.
Deborah Music. This is
Dropouts.
you.
Nick.
Oh, Nick Viall.
Yeah.
If you stay till the end, send me a screenshot of getting his book, and I'll respond to you. And
Oh,
have
that
a good
means
time.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Make sure to
Wow,
go check us out
thanks,
on Instagram at Dropouts Pod and on TikTok at Dropouts Podcast. We'll see you guys next week for another episode
and
of
if you
Dropouts.
review the book and you put it on social and tag me, I'll share it.
There
perfect.
we go.
Easy.
Perfect.
Go get the book, you idiot.
Toodaloo!
Perfect. Thanks. That was fun. We're just gonna get a couple